So let me just try to knock him again.
I think there is a network delay, I think so. I hope you'll be able to hear me.
Yeah, yeah, now we can hear you. You are back.
So, the earlier slide, everyone able to hear? The earlier one, this one?
No, we lost you from here. Yes.
Okay. The semantic kernel programming languages, it supports your Python, your C Sharp .NET, as well as your Java programming language, which was supported by the semantic kernel. And this semantic kernel has various types of AI endpoints supported by Azure OpenAI framework, as well as your Hugging Face AI endpoints are possible under your semantic kernel. Then, what is this AI agent? So, AI agent is a program where you will be achieving a specific task or a specific goal. All these AI agents was powered by the large language model, which was trained with a massive amount of data. So when I say the large language model capabilities, it could be a text generation, image generation, code generation, summarization, translation, various types of capabilities your AI agents was supported to perform the large language model capabilities, where you will be performing all types of tasks or all varieties of activities with the minimal human intervention, which is your AI agent. So under this AI agent, how the actual evolution gets started in the sense, when the very first part in the Microsoft Azure platform, we were building the conversational AI, engaging customer experiences with the help of the Azure bot services. Then we moved on to the RAG pattern, which is a retrieval augmented generation, to make your conversation grounded for your real-time data. Then from the RAG model, we moved on to the Copilot part. So under the Copilot, where user will able to complete a varieties of task or an activity. From Copilot, now we reach to fully autonomous agent. If you say fully autonomous agent, you can respond to a variety of tasks as well as your activities you will be able to perform with the help of your large language model with the minimal human intervention. So using a minimal human intervention, what are the activities or tasks it is possible to fulfill with the help of your agentic AI framework. So that we will be discussing under the agentic AI framework. So what are the agentic AI capabilities we have? So agents is possible to write the code generation. Code generation capability is possible. Agentic AI as the email generation capability in terms of composing the email. And it is possible to summarize various meetings as well as conversation based engagement activities is possible with respect to your agents. And you'll be able to create a recommendation system out of this agentic AI framework. So these are the four important capabilities where AI agents started evolving around your semantic kernel with the help of your C# .NET framework. Why do we need semantic kernel? There are three major reasons we need semantic kernel. One is the semantic kernel platform provide a streamlined integration. So when you say streamlined integration, it is going to simplify the entire integration of all your AI capabilities into your existing applications for a larger enterprise products and solution. You will be able to streamline all your AI products as well as AI services using semantic kernel. So with the help of the semantic kernel, the learning curve has been reduced. No need to no need to learn the entire API of various LLMs. So with the help of semantic kernel is sufficient enough to make your agentic AI application or a framework with respect to your Azure AI services that is possible. And the last important reason why are we using the semantic kernel is semantic kernel has a enhanced reliability. When I say enhanced reliability, It has the .NET SDK framework where it has the ability to fine tune your prompts as well as the task can be created accordingly to predict the user experiences in an engaging manner. So these three are the important capabilities of your semantic kernel with respect to your .NET SDK framework. So this is the architecture of your semantic kernel. If you notice the architecture, the semantic kernel, it is segmented into two important modules. One of the module is model is a module, and the second module is memory. This module, it is going to serve as an orchestration layer. The entire semantic kernel is going to be served as an orchestration layer. By leveraging all your large language model will be segmented into various plugins as well as connector. So with the help of utilizing your existing plugins and connector, you can achieve your orchestration framework with respect to your model module in your semantic kernel. And memory module, it is going to retrieve as well as store all contextual information related to prompt. If you want that, then you can go for your memory module. So memory module, we have a list of actions, we have a list of triggers. If you want to retrieve as well as store any contextual information, those contextual information is converted into your semantic prompt, then you can make use of memory module. So models has been leveraged with the help of connectors, and your memory has been leveraged by utilizing the existing triggers and actions. This is your overall semantic kernel architecture. So what are the agent components or what are the components of your semantic AI agents? There are three important components you can notice with respect to your semantic kernel AI agents. One is the plugin part, the second one is planner, the third one is persona. The meaning of plugin is if I want to retrieve any particular information within your semantic kernel as well as agentic AI, you can make use of plugin. We have various types of built-in plugins available. You may be able to customize your own plugin as well. That is one of the major component. The second major component with respect to your agentic AI is your planner. Planner is nothing but how are we going to use the entire plugins with the help of your semantic kernel through planner. So planner is going to respond to the user interaction with the help of your persona. So how personas are we going to carry it out throughout your semantic kernel approaches with the help of your flower braces? We will be carrying different types of persona. So these three components constitute together to form your agent. If you want to create any agent, these three components are ideally required. Plugins, persona, planner. In short, you can call it as three Ps, which is going to form an agentic AI framework in your semantic kernel approach. So what is the major prerequisite is required whenever you want to deploy any semantic kernel with the help of your C#.NET application development is you require an Azure subscription followed by your Azure OpenAI resource. You have to provision it. So under your Azure OpenAI resource, you will be creating a model with the GPT-4o deployment. So the GPT-4o deployment model, I have been provisioned it under your OpenAI services. Plus .NET SDK, you have to download the latest version of .NET SDK, download it. And along with that, you can make use of either Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. So these are the prerequisites that is required for your making any type of application using your semantic kernel. So let me show you the Azure portal. So under the Azure portal, what I have been provisioned is, so I have provisioned the Azure OpenAI resource. So you have to go for the Azure OpenAI resource, you click it, click the create button, then choose a subscription, start creating the resource group, provide which region you want to deploy this Azure OpenAI services, and you need to provide for the Azure OpenAI resource. Then you have to choose your pricing tier. Once it is done, you hit the button next, and then submit it. This will take hardly 2 minutes time to make the deployment successful. Once the deployment is successful, what we have to do is your resource has been created under your Azure OpenAI. You click this Azure OpenAI resource. So under this Azure OpenAI resource, you can notice there is an option known as go to the Azure OpenAI Studio. When you click this will be redirected to the Azure AI Foundry. So earlier time before Ignite, the Azure AI Studio we used to call it as, now it has been renamed as your Azure AI Foundry, along with a list of other services are also incorporated to the existing Azure AI Foundry itself. So under this Azure AI Foundry, we are going to create one deployment resource. How do you create a deployment resource? You just click the deployment. So when you click the deployment, there is an option known as deploy model. Under this deploy model, you have to deploy a base model. If I click the base model, you can choose the list of models for your deployment. So when I say choose the list of models, I have chosen the model as GPT-4o is the model I have been chosen. Then if you click this model deploy for GPT-4o is ready, you can ready to use your semantic kernel because you require two important information from your Azure OpenAI, which is the keys and endpoint. Along with the keys and endpoint, you take the keys from the resource management section, keys and endpoint, and you require one GPT-4o deployment model. These are the three essential stuff in order to make your own agent ready. If I want to create my own agent, look at that code under your C#.NET framework. The code says, how are you going to build a kernel? In order to build a kernel, you require one of the package. What is the package we require in the sense? The Microsoft Semantic Kernel package we require. This is the package you need for you want to build any type of kernel based applications. Then the second step is you start creating the kernel. How do you create a kernel? With the help of create builder method, and the class for the create builder method is a kernel class. Using this, you will be creating a kernel deployment. Once it is done, as I mentioned earlier in that third slide, the supported AI endpoints for your agentic AI was your OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, and the Hugging Face. So here I have chosen the endpoint as Azure OpenAI interface, which you can notice that add Azure OpenAI chat completion. Under this add Azure OpenAI chat completion, the mandate we have to pass three parameters. One is the deployment name, which is a GPT-4o deployment, and endpoint and key from your Azure OpenAI resource. So these are three essential parameters you have to pass inside your add Azure OpenAI chat completion model. Once it is done, you need to build your kernel object with the help of the build method. Builder.build method is used to build your semantic kernel inside your .NET application development. So let's see the code approach in our C Sharp Visual Studio. So under this Visual Studio code, I have created a project named as a Travel Copilot is a project have been created. Under this, I have added two important packages inside this SLN framework. So if you notice that, so one of the package I have downloaded and installed is the Microsoft Semantic Kernel. I have been downloaded and installed it. And the second one is the Microsoft Semantic Kernel plugin, Score plugin have been installed. So these two packages is installed as part of your Semantic Kernel Agentic AI framework. Once it is done, you go to that program.cs file. Under this program.cs file, you can notice this is your main method. Under this main method, we have created the builder object with the help of your create builder class, create builder method using a kernel class. And we have added the Azure OpenAI endpoint with the help of the method known as add Azure OpenAI chat completion. In this one, you passed three parameters. One is the deployment name. The second one is the API key. Third one is the endpoint. We pass these three parameters. Finally, we build the builder object with the help of your builder.build method. The very first one is using this await async method. Like this is the method. We can see that await kernel dot invoke prompt async method. So what was the prompt or what is the natural language prompt I have provided here is give me a list of breakfast foods with bread and cheese. This is the natural language prompt, and your agentic AI framework as a reasoning engine. Inside the agentic AI framework reasoning engine, whatever the natural language prompt you have given, this is going to hit your GPT-4o model. And the GPT-4o model by default, it has the large language model capabilities. From there, it will check that source from the online knowledge base. Accordingly, the results gets populated. If I execute this code, let's see, let me say .NET run the name of the program. If I started executing it, the natural language prompt what I have given is give me a list of breakfast foods with bread and cheese. So this particular natural language prompt is go and hit the reasoning engine. That reasoning engine will start at checking the deployment model of Azure OpenAI, which is GPT-4. And that GPT-4 has various types of large language model capabilities. Then that large language model capabilities has a massive amount of data in their respective knowledge base. Based on that, the results started populating. You can see this grilled cheese sandwich, cheese toast, bagel with cream cheese, cheese egg breakfast sandwich. So with the help of cheese and the bread, you can make these are the list of sandwich items. You can make it. This is a very simple way of executing your natural prompt along with your reasoning engine. Okay. Let's see a more detailed prompt, which is nothing but how are we going to build with respect to your plugins. There are different types of plugins you can see with respect to your semantic kernel. So when you see the different types of plugins, we have an HTTP plugin, text plugin, math plugin, conversation summary plugin, your time plugin, wait plugin is there, and the last one is file IO plugin. So these are the built-in types of plugins are available as part of the semantic kernel approach. So in this case, if you notice that if you want to build an application related to a HTTP plugin of semantic kernel, then you can go for your HTTP plugin. And similarly, if you want to use it as part of your any text-based manipulation or any text manipulation operation, you will be using your text plugin, you can use it. And math plugin is purely for the mathematical operation. If you want to use any mathematical operation, please make use of your math plugin. And the conversation summary plugin, if you want to say any conversation related to your customer engaging conversation or any of your conversation you're done with respect to your application, you can go for conversation summary plugin. Time plugin, if you want to get the current date and time, the next date and time, or the system date and time, you can go for the time plugin. And then await plugin, if you want to wait plugin, if I want to wait for a certain number of time period, you can go for wait plugin. Then for any file related operation, you can go for file IO plugin. So these are the list of plugins that are available. Let's see that plugins one hands-on with respect to the VS Code application. So this time, what I will be doing is, this is your main method. I don't want to call any of the invoke prompt async method and all. I'm going to call the time plugin with the help of the static method called as myTime. MyTime is a static method here. Under this myTime, we have used the kernel object builder creation. So kernel object builder creation is done already. This is a part of your semantic kernel package. And now I have added a new plugin called as the core plugin. So in order to add the core plugin, you should use .NET add package core plugin. You have to add that. So what is that package name we have included is Microsoft Semantic Kernel plugins.core. This is the one we have added it. If you see this, uh, builder.plugins. So under this plugins interface, you can add your own built-in plugin. In order to add your own built-in plugin, we have to use one of the collection type method as add from type. So what type of plugin are we going to add from the from type is time plugin. That's a collection method. So under this collection method of time plugin, so what we have used is we are going to call one of the static method of this time plugin called as invoke async. Under this invoke async method, we call the time plugin. So time plugin has various types of parameters and the constants. So one of the parameter we called is as days of week. Okay. And you are trying to print the current day of today. So how to call this one? So the name of the static method is my time. You go to your main file. In the main file, you just call await the name of the name of the class. What is the name of the class? Program 001 is the name of the class. And what is the name of the method is my time method. If you start executing the main class, which is your .NET run, the name of the program, .NET run, I'll say .NET run program. This is going to print today's day, which is the current day today is Saturday. Okay. This is related to built-in plugin. Okay. So what type of built-in plugin we use this? We use the built-in plugin as your time plugin. Similarly, if you want to perform anything related to a HTTP request and response, you can go for HTTP plugin. Any text manipulation or text operation, you can go for text plugin. Mathematical operation, math plugin. Summarization is your conversation summary plugin. Time we already discussed. Wait is the specified number of milliseconds, how much time you want to wait it. And anything file plugin can go for file IO plugin. So I'll give one more code related to this is, let's say, look at this. This is the code for your conversation summary plugin. So for the conversation summary plugin also, what I have created here is, I have created my conversation. So my conversation is a static method of this class program 002. And under this my conversation class, my conversation method, we called the kernel builder creation is done. And again, we used one of the collection type is add from type. And we will call the interface name as plugins. So what type of plugin are we going to call now is conversation summary plugin we are going to call. Under this conversation summary plugin, so this is the actual natural language prompt. If you want to write any natural language prompt with respect to your conversation summary plugin, you have to use like this. So what we have, I'm using here, the prompt is @ is a symbol. I am a vegan in search of new recipes. I love spicy food. Can you give me a list of breakfast recipes that are vegan friendly? Earlier time, we got the list of breakfast of your both vegetarian as well as non-vegetarian. Now I was very specific to my conversation. What was my conversation? I was very specific is I need only vegan foods, not non-vegetarian foods. So in that case, what type of plugin we call this conversation summary plugin we have called it. And from that, I don't want to get all types of recipes need to be executed. Rather, what I have been provided here is I want to get the conversation topics alone. If I want to get the conversation topics alone, there is a parameter known as get conversation topics. Under this get conversation topic, whatever the input we passed, that input dot input comma, and you have to pass the input variable which is stored under one variable. So the input variable is stored under which variable in the sense your conversation variable. So that variable you have to call it. And you can print the console.write line result method you can print. So what type of method we done all these types of conversation is my conversation. So if you want to call this, you go back to your main method. In the main method, what we will be doing is you comment this, let uncomment this, which is this one I'm going to uncomment it. Before I'm going to uncomment this particular stuff, what we will be doing is go back to the presentation. So in this presentation, you can notice whenever you want to create any prompt template. Okay. So the way your semantic kernel SDK supports different types of prompt template. So how the prompt template has been supported in the sense with the help of the expression language. So how to make your expression language? The expression language can be made with the help of @ Using @ you can make your own responses are possible using @ So on the @ you are given the overall expression. And in order to embed your expression in your template based language, you have to use the expression language parameter. What is the expression language parameter? Double curly brace. You can have your list of expression or any conversation. And I have to close again the double curly brace as well. So this is a way you can create your own prompt template that is possible. So what are tips where you will be able to craft your prompt in the sense? There are two important things you should require whenever you started crafting your prompt. One is you need to provide a specific input so that you will be able to yield the specific output. So why specific input as well as specific output is much needed in your prompt template in the sense, whenever you started crafting, what is the outcome are you going to get if I used this prompt template? That particular question you should ask before you started making using of it. Okay. So let me execute this, then we will see the result of this application. What I will do now, I'm going to execute this particular code, .NET run, the name of the program. So here you can notice it is going to provide conversation about only the topics, not all the list of items. So what are the topic items since it is I'm a vegan? So it says vegan. Vegan is one of the topic. The second topic is recipes. And the third topic is a spicy food. And the fourth topic will be a breakfast. So these are the high level topics from our existing natural language prompt. It has been provided with the help of which plugin is conversation summary plugin. So using this conversation summary plugin, so what we have done is all their respective high level conversation topics, if you want to execute it, then use get conversation topics. So get conversation topics is a high level topic. You can get the overall topics which is produced from the conversation summary plugin. Apart from this get conversation topic, what are the things you will be able to get from the conversation topic is one is mm, get conversation action items. Okay. So get conversation action item is also one of the action of your conversation summary plugin. What we can make it is get conversation action items. This is one of the action. If I execute it now, you can check it out the result. So what action I have executed is now I executed the conversation summary plugin. From there, what are the action items it has to taken care? Who is the owner? What is the due date? Whether the status is open or not. Okay, you can see the action items. Similarly, one more actions you can perform from this, which is summarize conversation. Summarize conversation is also one of the action from the conversation summary plugin. Summarize conversation. Let me execute it. So what are three main things are we looking for is one is summarize conversation. Second one is your get conversation action items. Third one is get conversation topics. So these are the three actions we perform with the help of summary conversation summary plugin. The last part of the agentic AI creation is how are we going to use various types of persona inside the agentic AI framework. So if you notice the inside the agentic AI framework, assigning personas to your prompt will just going to improve the overall quality of the responses, which is ideally generated from the large language model. So whenever you are going for any large language model with respect to this agentic AI framework, please provide the persona. So when I say persona, always persona will should start with a symbol $. So at the rate dollar is the persona symbol which is going to start. For example, if you want to build any type of persona related to finance related project, you have to create a finance assistant. If you want to create a project related to travel tour, then you can create a travel assistance. If you want to create any project related to your retail based project, you will be creating a retail assistance. So various types of persona, then different types of industries we can create using a persona types in your semantic kernel. So let's see that particular approach. So what is the semantic kernel persona types I have used here is at the rate dollar. Okay, at the rate dollar. So what I'm asking the travel assistant. So we are going to create one travel assistance is our persona type. So in order to create a travel assistance for a persona type, so the natural language prompt I have given is create a list of useful phrases and words. And I have used the expression languages dollar. And what language, the English is there, and I'm going to use it inside the French. I'm a traveler, which is used to find useful. So usually this type of messages you will be using in your Azure AI Foundry as a system messages. System messages which is nothing but your assistance related messages. So as a travel assistant, I don't know much about French. I'm asking that agentic AI framework give me a list of useful phrases. Since I went to the Paris city, I'm not sure about French. Whatever the English related words like there will be there, it will be converted into a French with the help of this type of persona types. Let me call the persona type here. So what I will do, the same part, execute as my prompt, .NET, run program. So since I'm going to travel to Paris, then it is going to provide a list of useful phrases in terms of English to French related personas. See, you can notice this. Here are some of the useful French phrases that works that a traveler might find useful. Bonjour, which is good morning or hello. Good evening is there. Thank you is mercy is there. Okay. So you can see how are you. So all helpful related phrases if you want to communicate any of your friends or colleagues or neighbors in French, you visited French, but you don't know much French about words. This will be a useful persona type. Okay. And also you can see there are some other varieties of things. There's also like direction. You want to identify which direction, like in terms of rupees, in terms of money. Then you need to provide your overall prompt in your travel assistance. I want to know about, give me some helpful phrases related to direction, helpful phrases related to currency related things that you can change inside the persona type. Okay. So if I want to summarize this, so what we have done is we have created the agentic AI framework with the help of semantic kernel approach. First, we talked about the avoid kernel async method. Then we done with your built-in plugins with respect to time plugin, summarization, conversation plugin, and we moved into the prompt templates. And final one, we discussed about the persona types. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. And any questions you can ask me now.
Yeah, there are few questions. I'll go one by one, okay?
Okay.
Um, First one is, let me share my screen so that at least there will be something visible on this. Okay, one question somebody has asked, he has not mentioned his name. What will be the cost and how do we calculate for this?
Good
Okay,
question. For this one, semantic kernel, we are not going to cast it. We whatever the endpoints are we using, because I use the endpoint as GPT-4o model, and you need to go for the GPT-4o model, the east to yes, whichever region you are there, that cost we have to calculate it. You need to open Azure OpenAI pricing model, which deployment model you used. Based on that, the cost will started calculating for your respective application. Semantic kernel, there is no cost. Whichever endpoint you consume and you are used in terms of the region as well as how much you consume, that pricing cost you can calculate.
okay. So meaning it's quite clear to me, and I hope or the one who has asked they also know the cost is there is no a specific cost for semantic kernel, but the cost is for the endpoint, which means like the Azure OpenAI endpoint which we are using. We have to calculate the cost according to our region. Yeah. So here is another question. What is semantic kernel and how can we develop the agent from other platform?
Yes. So now almost 10 platforms are be there for the semantic kernel. One is Azure OpenAI, OpenAI Hugging Face, Mistral AI. The
Uh,
other providers also started supporting the semantic kernel agent part. Not only Azure OpenAI, including OpenAI is supporting, Hugging Face is supporting, Mistral is supporting the semantic kernel.
okay, this answers another question also. Can we build this agent with OpenAI? So yes, we can.
Yes.
And can we feed our own data and restrict the default data? This is another question.
Yes, we can. You can implement the multi-agent and we can restrict the data. That is possible.
Okay, so this is all I can see the question, and there is no further question. So I think we can move to our next session. Anything final thought you have from your side, Janarthanan?
Thank you so much, Rizwan and Satya, for providing me the opportunity, and looking forward to collaborate in the upcoming events as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Actually, we got a lot of information from this session. We know about what is semantic kernel, how to implement it, and how we can customize or we can